Does your car's paint look like this?
Damn it.
So this time I'm going to show you how to make your car's tired, old, oxidized paint look like new again. So this is my 2004 Audi A4. This is my daily driver, and as you can see, it's been pretty neglected here recently. It sits outside underneath a tree, so it gets a lot of debris all over it, and the black paint has gotten very oxidized from sitting in the sun. So to make this paint look like new again, the first thing we need to do, of course, is wash the car off, get rid of all the leaves, dirt, and debris so that we don't swirl that into the paint. So real quick before I start washing the car off here, everything that I'm going to use to restore the paint for this car, I will post a link to in the description of this video. So if you want to give it a shot yourself, you can go down there and order the compounds and the different pads and give this a shot on your car. All right, I got the car all washed off. It's still wet, but that doesn't really matter. The thing that's most important when you go to polish and buff the paint like this is to make sure that it's cool and make sure you're out of the sun. So I pulled it into the garage here and gonna knock it out in here. It actually doesn't look too bad right now because it is still wet, but there's still a ton of oxidation on this part of the hood. And the best way to get through it, I found when it's this bad, is to use a smaller 3-inch buffing pad. And for this, I just have a little attachment for my drill. So I've got a link to that down in the description as well. And then to start off with, the first thing I like to use is Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound. This is about as abrasive as you can get for a compound, and it's safe to use with a rotary like this or with a DA. So if your paint's not quite as oxidized as this, a DA is a really good choice. You're going to get it done a lot faster because it's going to have a larger pad and it's got dual action, so that's a little bit better for the paint, less likely that you will swirl it. But like I said, when the oxidation's real bad, I like to use the smaller 3-inch pad and then do one small area at a time. So once I've got the worst of it, I might come back with the DA and do the last couple steps with this. So to get started, take your coarse pad or your buffing pad. So in this case, it's the orange one. Take some of your Ultra Cut compound, put a little on there. It's also good to make sure that the foam pad is a little bit damp. You don't want it soaking wet because it's going to fling compound and water everywhere, but a little damp when you put the compound on it and it won't dry out as quickly. So dab that on in the area that I'm going to work in, just to spread it out, and then get started. It's good to start slow at first and then work your speed up as you spread the compound around. And then you've probably heard it before, but we want to work in about a 1 foot by 1 foot area at a time. So I'm going to go back and forth. And then change direction. So we're just going to repeat that whole process for quite a while here. And this is going to start taking out the oxidation from the paint. Step up the speed a little bit. Also, you want to make sure that you don't push. Just let the weight of your DA or your drill do the work. Don't push it into the paint or you're going to scratch the paint up. Now that's just starting to dry. You don't want it to completely dry out or it's going to be really hard to get off. So as it starts to dry out, that's where you want to stop and then just come back and see, I even went there too long, so it's not coming off real easy. So sometimes you have to wet, get your rag damp, and that'll help it come off. The other thing, if this doesn't come off real easy like this, it means the paint's still probably pretty oxidized, so you probably need to do at least one more coat. So since that's not coming off real easy, I'm just going to hit it again. Okay, so second pass done. Let's wipe it off now. See, it's not as dry this time, so it does come off easier. Okay, well, it doesn't look a lot better, but you can see a difference here between where I've buffed it and where I haven't buffed it. So you're not expecting it to be perfect after this. In fact, this needs to be gone over at least one more time with the Ultra Cut compound because it was so oxidized. So you'll know you're done with this when it becomes fairly smooth. The compound will wipe off pretty easily, but it's not going to be perfectly super shiny, smooth finish just yet. We got a couple more steps to make that happen. Okay, well, it still doesn't look like too much. I've gone over the whole hood a couple of times with the 3-inch buffing pad and the Ultra Cut compound. Now I'm going to go over the whole thing again with the DA, the larger foam pad, and still using the Ultra Cut compound before I move on to the next level. Okay, well, you can see it's getting there. Definitely a lot better. Most of the watermark's gone, most of the oxidation's gone. There's still some streaks and stuff, but that'll come out with the next step here. So, done with the Ultra Cut compound now. That's the heavy cut buffing done, and now we're going to switch to a finer compound and a finer pad. So for this step, I'm going to use the Ultra Finishing compound from Meguiar's. Okay, all done with the Ultra Finishing compound, and the hood looks pretty great. It's not 100% perfect, but it's so much better than it was before. It was so oxidized, didn't look like it was ever going to shine again. And it's got a pretty deep shine to it, even though there's still a few little spots, discoloration, and spots where the paint's really edged. It looks much better. I could stop here and just go ahead and put wax on it and be done. But I've also got one more compound step that we can do to give it a little bit more of a shine. And what I'm using here is Meguiar's Show Car Glaze. So I'm going to change pads on the DA again and put that on just like I did with the polish. Well, there you go. So after the mirror glaze, it looks a whole heck of a lot better than what we started with, and now we just need to protect it, so we need to put some kind of wax on it. So for that, I've got the Synthetic Sealant 2.0, also from Meguiar's. And for this wax, you can put it on by hand, you can use the DA. I'm going to go back to using the 3-inch pad for this one. Well, that looks pretty good, but I better do one more coat. I mean, I was just starting on the second coat. Okay, so the hood is done. And that's how you can make your paint look like brand new again. Now I just need to do the rest of the So most of the car has been buffing up very nicely, but I've gotten to the roof here, and unfortunately no amount of buffing with the UltraCut compound is cutting through the oxidation and dirt and everything else that's still on the roof here. So unfortunately this is going to take another extra step to make it look good again. And what it's going to need is to be wet sanded. So I've got a sanding block and some wet dry sandpaper. So I'm going to go over the whole roof with 2000 grit sandpaper, go over it again with 3000 grit sandpaper, and then I'm going to buff, polish, glaze, and wax it just like the rest of the car. So a couple more hours worth of work, but it's definitely going to pay off in the end. It's going to make... So there you have it. That's how you can make your car's paint look like new again with a little bit of effort and some time. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Click the thumbs up and like this video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave me a comment down below if you've got something to add, and I will see you next time.